times are getting hard for you, little girl. I'm a humming and a strumming all over God's world. Hey, 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 hey. Eduardo, yeah, great with one spit, man. Chisora chomping on dude. Anyway, hopefully you guys can make the reference sometimes when I do these little things there. This one is the prediction for the July 23rd fight between Dereck Chisora and Tyson Fury. And I'm going to break down both fighters, and then I'll give my prediction at the end. It's actually a pretty decent fight for two upcoming heavyweights that are getting right near that fringe of actually, you know, in a couple years really fighting for a title. Well, not so much Chisora, because he's already 27, so he's right at that age. He better get it or go, you know what I'm saying? Poo or get off the pot, whatever the phrase is, you know. Anyway, start out with Dereck Chisora. He's 14-0 with 9 knockouts, and he's 6'1.5", 74-inch reach. So he's definitely on the small side for the heavyweights. And a lot of people are like, well, Mike Tyson was only 5'10". Yeah, but then again, you know, Lennox Lewis was like a huge heavyweight then, and he was 6'5", and he's relatively small now, or average. You know, he was big then. He's 2005 ABA Super Heavyweight Champion. That's the amateur champion, in case you guys didn't know that. And when you look at this, this is his longest stretch of inactivity for his entire career. So that has some concerns with it, because you don't know. One, he doesn't have that many pro fights, and then to have this long layoff, you know, usually when you're in your first 20 fights, you want to get about 4 fights in a year, and he hasn't had a fight yet this year, and it was a couple months in the last one. So, you know, he's built like a tank, though, and as I said, he's kind of like Tyson, so much like Tyson that he was actually fined and suspended for biting some dude in the ring. Just throwing that out there. So, I mean, he's got a mean streak in him. He's got good wins over Williams, although he's old. And then you have Sexton, who he knocked out twice. And you might even say Sexton was kind of overrated. Is that possible? I mean, good fighter, though. He's active. He's got good footwork. He's constantly moving his feet. Good head movement in there. He's got a strong jab with the high hands. He's got good power. 8 knockouts in his last 10 fights. He has solid hooks, and he works the high-low with that. He's good on the inside, throws a lot of uppercuts, and he's a strong finisher once he thinks he has you hurt. He needs to learn how to cut the ring off a little bit better. Said, you know, when you're not good at cutting the ring off, you wind up finding yourself chasing people more. And at his height, he needs to be a master at that, like Tyson was. Tyson could cut that ring off, and you just had nowhere to go except running into his fists. So when you look at that, you know, he does drop the right when he throws his left hand, so that's going to be a problem whenever he fights a boxer, you know, or a counterpuncher. And when he does roll, and when I say that, when he rolls, when he comes down and rolls, it's slow. And he doesn't really throw the hooks or something like that when he comes out of it. It's more he just rolls, and then that's it. You know, there's nothing really there. And that leaves him very open to uppercuts and counter left hooks. Now, he does tend to drop his hands in later rounds, and stamina could be a question. He looked good in his the last fight with Sexton, going the 9 rounds and getting the knockout. He looked like he had that stamina. He's still bouncing on his feet. He's still throwing the punches. So, but, you know, you're going to have it. He's going to struggle with the bigger boxers that have a solid jab. Sexton landed a lot of jabs, but Sexton also has a very, very powerful jab in there. And Sexton also only had a 71-inch reach, which is very short for a heavyweight, especially at that height. You know, he's 6'2". Those are like stumps, man, like alligator arms, you know. And I always tell people, I'm 5'11", somewhere in there, you know, and I have a 76-inch reach. So when you hear about these fighters, you know, they're 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", and they only have 71-inch reach, 73-inch reach. That is actually a short reach. Arms are more compact. So we'll see how that goes. Over to Tyson Fury, who's 14-0 as well with 10 knockouts, and he's of the bigger cut. You know, he's 6'9", you know, 265, 270 pounds, somewhere in there. 86-inch reach, which could be the greatest reach ever in boxing. The problem is he has. You could almost question his training, because there's like a 30-pound 23-pound difference. You know, he goes as high as 270 or as low as 247, and that's training and diet and how you do this stuff. You really want to see fighters, when they come into fight time, and you only want to see a couple pounds difference, you know, especially in the heavyweights. If a guy comes in, he's 15 pounds heavier in his last fight, you know he took it light, you know what I mean? Because you can't put that much weight on muscle-wise in a year unless you're roided. Just saying. You know, so forget about the uppercut, you know, after he punched himself in the face. I should, you know, kind of realize that he can give as much as he can take, kind of deal, you know. Yeah. Anyway, not a lot of quality opposition in him. Since starting 7-0 with 7 knockouts, he is now 7-0 with only 3 knockouts. So the knockouts are not coming with the better opposition that he is facing, even though they're not great opposition. That makes any sense? Like Rich Powers, you know, was 13-0, 10 knockouts, had a great chin, took a lot of punches, but he should have got him out of there. You know, the guy said he'd be lucky to go 6 rounds, and he went all 8, and he was completely and totally gassed after 5. So stamina starts to come into question as well with Tyson Fury. One, he doesn't really have the knockout power. You know, he's got 1 KO past 5. You know, out of his KOs that he does have. So once you get past there, it's like he really struggles to get guys out of there. He does drop the right every time he throws the left, which is a very scary thing. He pumps the jab, but it's not a power jab. He's not moving bodies with this thing. Like Vladimir Klitschko, who could land a jab and knock you back or possibly even knock you down. That's not happening with this guy. He relies more on his right hand, the overhand right and the sneaky right that he cinches in there or sends through, which is good. His left hook is okay. It's not elite level. The right hand is the one you really have to worry about. So if you're fighting him, you know, you just put that hand up and go from there. You know, he tends to switch, go from orthodox to southpaw, and if you followed any of my videos, I think it's a bad thing. I do not think it helps a fighter unless you are absolutely elite class, like a Marvin Hagler or one of those guys that could actually switch back and forth and get the job done. If you notice the recent rash of fighters that tend to switch back and forth, they've been losing the fights. So just throwing that out there as well. He has the good 1-2s. As I said, the left hook is okay. He is an active fighter, so that's positive. But it's active for both fighters. For heavyweights, these guys throw a lot of punches. He will work the body well, and they say he likes to fight inside, and I see him fighting inside. But the thing is at 86-inch reach, you really can't put a shot on somebody when their face is in your chest. You know, it's really hard to get the shots off. He does like to throw the uppercuts. He needs just that little bit of space so he can work with. You know, but to me, I don't believe, you know, the inside is his area. He needs to watch that, especially with Chisora. He has decent speed, and unfortunately for him, he's very, very off balance when he misses with that right hand. He puts so much ass behind, so much faith behind that right hand that if he misses, he's horribly off balance and he's open for a lot of bad things. So when you put both these fighters together and you look at it and say, who's going to win this BBBBBFC title? Who's going to win the Commonwealth title? You know, the heavyweight title. I think it's going to be a late round stoppage, and I see this fight going this way. I believe the first couple rounds, you're going to see Fury holding Chisora off with that jab. He's going to keep the distance, keep Chisora away from him. In middle rounds, you're going to see Chisora start getting under that jab because he's going to realize there's no real power behind that jab. He's going to get in there and start pounding that body, start taking away the stamina of Fury. In the later rounds, you're going to see that mounting pressure build up. Eventually, I think Fury will become gassed, and Chisora will take him out around the 10th round. And that's my prediction for the fight. Chisora knockout in 10. Some of you might go, well, hey man, you slammed Chisora when he was fighting Vladimir. This isn't Vladimir Klitschko, okay? I think Chisora is a quality heavyweight, and we'll see how this goes. There's my prediction. Please comment, rate, subscribe. Be my friend, or just be my friend to hate on me because I don't pick your fighter. However you feel. All right? Well, hey, this is Bigragu. I'm out.